Welcome to the UnScripted Authentic Leadership Podcast, a podcast where seeking to lead change, we're also seeking to understand. We're also here's a platform for leaders to come together to unite, to develop, and empower other leaders in the areas of business, family, and community. I'm your host, Lafayette Lane, joined by my co-host, John LeBron, and tonight we are joined by a special guest, Mikey Lucas. Put those hands together, put those clap emojis in the comment section. Mikey has joined us to have a conversation of how to achieve your dreams without sacrificing your freedom. Mikey has knocked on his first door in 2013. With his charismatic and energetic leadership, he became one of the highest producing professionals in the industry. As a young CEO and rising star in the consulting mentorship realm, he has used his spotlight to both bring new and exciting changes into how the D2D industry views having both a purpose-driven life and how to obtain and maintain multiple streams of income. Tonight, he has joined us right here on the UnScripted Authentic Leadership Podcast. Mikey, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, let's get right into the conversation. How did you get started in this whole purpose-driven life and really trying to help people achieve their dreams without sacrificing their freedom?
Well, funny enough, it's been almost 10 years now that I've been sober from synthetic heroin, and I didn't realize that life could be so encouraging and so inspiring until I don't want to say I hit rock bottom, but I would suppose my rock bottom, and I actually would love to talk about the rock bottom thing. I actually disagree highly with the rock bottom thing, but my back was put into a corner, and I realized that I needed to do something different than what I was doing. What I was doing wasn't adding up, and I was told, and I'll talk about this all the time, but when things don't add up, you got to start subtracting. My mom was a single mom in my late high school career. I had to grow up really, really fast and born and raised in Las Vegas. And I realized that, if I could take care of my mom and my sister, I was going to have to do, something different than just work at the car wash and work at, In-N-Out Burger, which was what I was doing at the time. But lo and behold, I realized that kind of like Jim Rome talks about, I was focusing more on who I was becoming rather than what I was getting, which was totally fine. And which was, I always had this, I guess you can say this, I always thought somebody was watching me mentality. So when I worked at the In-N-Out Burger, which I know you guys probably love, I hope you guys love that. I wiped down tables thinking, hey, look, somebody's going to eventually find me. Like, I know I'm a diamond in the rough. I knew that I was different. I was the outcast. I wasn't, the best guy in my football, baseball team, or wrestling team. I wasn't the leading star in the theater, shows. I wasn't the smartest kid in school. I had, I'm the perfect, if you will, Michael Jordan got cut from his baseball team to, Albert Einstein. I'm severely dyslexic, have learning disabilities kind of mindset. I didn't realize that until later on, that the majority of the guys that are very hyper successful and that do a lot of philanthropy and giving back, they're the ones that think they can change the world. And I'm just that weird kid that thinks I can change the world. And ultimately, guys, my main squeeze is not just to make a bunch of money unapologetically. I'm going to become a billionaire unapologetically. I know people are not going to like that, but I'm going to be giving the majority of that money back. I really don't need that much to live on, but I know that there's world issues that I know that I can solve. And I, as an entrepreneur, and I know that you guys probably believe this as well, that I take this stuff personally. The things that I see, whether that's sex slave trafficking, refugees, single parenthood, one of the the orphans and stuff like that, but. And personally for me, it's under funded world missions, which is one of my main things that I'm solving right now. But the on back home in America, one of the main things I focus on is money. And if people can get away from this taboo around money, I really believe I can get the divorce rate with this one method down to below 25%. And at that point, that'll solve tons of issues. Parents and kids will live more flourishing lifestyles.
You said that about rock bottom. You mentioned that. and you wanted to expound on that. I think you say you really don't believe in the rock bottom. Can you expound on that a little further?
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to people, a lot of times what I heard was that, people always told me and have told other people, because now being sober for 10 years, I don't just say I'm sober for 10 years and did nothing. I go and I speak at rehabs. I go and I put money and I give my time, my talent, my resources to people. I literally lay my life down for a lot of my brothers to try to help them get out of the rut that they were in, because I first put the mask on myself, got clean, got sober, found the Lord. And then boom, I got now commissioned to go back in and fight, the good fight, not with my own accord, but with the Lord's accord. But, this whole, you got to hit rock bottom. It's just a stupid excuse. We just, we don't know how to, and I don't blame parents for saying that or people for saying that. It's just a matter of why are we saying they have to hit rock bottom? Like someone to hit rock bottom is like the brink of suicide, the brink of death, the brink of, literally having everything taken from you. I don't wish rock bottom on my worst enemy. Rock bottom is it's a myth. You don't have to hit rock bottom. You just have to decide to turn the other way. You just have to decide, if you will, to come home.
You had said something just a minute ago that really caught my attention. You said, when things don't add up, you got to start subtracting. And it reminded me of a post you put on Instagram that talked about treating your home like a sanctuary and sort of getting rid of things. Can you talk about those things? If things don't add up, you got to start subtracting. What are we subtracting, and how is that actually helping us move forward?
So let me talk really quickly about the home as a sanctuary thing. I'm a big proponent that I've got quotes everywhere. Now, I just moved into the place that I'm in, so you kind of see, I just put this bookshelf behind me. If they're watching this or if they're listening to this, I just put a bookshelf up, and I've got a couple books up there. But I usually have quotes everywhere. If you walk into my house back home in Las Vegas, there is literally the wall of quotes. I don't know if you go, there's a couple of pizza places, I forget the pizza place's name, but there's some pizza places that have the wall of quotes. And I just was mesmerized by all these quotes on these walls. And I do that with my own home. I've got encouraging either verses, encouraging sayings, encouraging words that people have said. I've got a couple cards that people say to me. I have a, and I'll show you guys here, but I have a gratitude folder where I actually, during certain times of my day, I'll actually go through my I am grateful. I know that if your listeners can't or are not on or just on audio, but they can't see that. But I've got, and I'll talk about that as well. But I've got screenshots of things that have to remind me to recenter and to realize that no matter what, there's the quote of, if you want everyone to like you, go sell ice cream. And I'm like, that's a myth. I saw in my high school career, the ice cream man got hated on, and anyways. But no, the thing about the sanctuary, the home thing is when I wake up. So I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not honest. I'll start here. I struggled so badly with pornography and sexual addiction that literally I would wake up and have these arousals in my head, and I couldn't figure out how to. It was such an embedded, deep habit that I didn't know how to break that. And even after I gotten saved, it was still there. I'm wow, Corinthians says all this passed away, behold, the new has come. Where's this new mindset? Where's the stone of the heart of stone? And I got now a heart of flesh. I put the death deeds of the flesh. Live in the spirit, you will not gratify the desires of the flesh, brother. Amen. I'm where's that at? And not realizing that, I've got this this understanding that the struggle made me appreciate being clean a lot, and not just clean, but also seeing women differently. I also have this thing, and I'm going off on this, but I'm going to go off for just a second. This is very important. I had this thing where before I got married, I would be like, is that my wife? Is that my wife? Is that my wife? And I would just be I got my heart broken in 2011, and I didn't date for 6 or 7 years. And at a certain point, about 5 years in, I became the man that would attract the woman that I know that I deserved and that I could then flourish with. And I really grounded in. And that doesn't mean that I went and finished college. I didn't go get out of debt. I didn't go, go get a job. No, I don't believe in all that. You should get married if the time is right. Let's go. I'm not saying get your life together, then go get married. That's like saying like, oh yeah, go get your life together, then come to the Lord. No, go make the business plan, then start the business. No, like build it on the way up. Like pay for people to be around you, listen to podcasts, anyways. So I not sure. I got off on that one. So basically, I wanted to make sure that everything around me, when I would wake up, I had to reprogram my mind. I think it's in Romans, talks about how to don't be conformed to the world anymore, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I'm like, how do I renew my mind? Okay, cool. Well, if I wanted to learn a new habit, learn a new language, learn a new, financial journey or whatever, I have to learn new stuff. So I would literally to the point where there was stuff on my walls around me, like posters that I'd buy from like the Christian bookstores, whatever. It was like Bible verses and stuff like that. It'd be there. And like, I'd still wake up and I'd be like, well, I'm not going to look at those. I'm going to just look at the ceiling. And I still think these thoughts. So I'm like, screw this. I literally, not joking, pinned stuff to the wall. So I was surrounded by things that I would wake up and be like, oh, that's right. That's not who I am. Like, I am this person now. Like, I have committed. And this is who I am now. I am a new person. I'm a new creature. Not only that, then it was realizing this was coming out of the drug scene. I didn't realize that actually the smell of rain made me think about using drugs. And I'm like, this is 3 years into sobriety. I'm like, why do I want to use drugs right now? This is very, very strange. This is very weird. Now, I was driving the same car at that time. That had a little to do with it too. But it was like, I'm driving the same car. I'm driving the same roads. I smell rain. Why do I want to use drugs? Because guess what we used to do? We used to smoke drugs in the car when it would rain because we couldn't go home because it's smoke drugs. So like, I was like, wow, like I had to like understand the difference between smell, eyes, and ears and what I would feed myself. In other words, what I wake up and watch, especially in the morning, would be what I would think about. And like the morning is so important, which I would like to talk about the nighttime routine, which is more important to me than the morning routine, but it's still very important how you wake up. So I would listen to, I go to bed now with like either wave sounds, rain sounds, thunder sounds, or like last night, my wife and I were listening to like the book of Psalms with like these like, frequencies on them or whatever. Like we're getting fed the word while we sleep, the whole like unconscious mind. We're feeding ourselves. Not only that, on my dream board, in my mirrors, I've got pictures of missionaries that I support overseas. So I'm constantly thinking about them because I don't want to think of Mikey. The more I think of Mikey, the less I become efficient and effective, and I become so earthly minded. I'm no heavenly good, right? So it's I needed to cleanse my house, and that way I could be there. It's the same thing when you're in your marriage. For instance, I just got married. When you're with your wife, when you're there, with your quality time, you're there. The phone is off. It's scheduled. It's off. It's out. Yeah, for me, a little bit. There is certain, she knows though, there are certain calls that might come in during that time frame, and it's just a quick one. Hey, I'm at lunch or dinner or whatever. Again, I got big clients that I'm expecting calls. They could call at any point. We're entrepreneurs. It happens. But I communicate out with my wife, so we're on the same page on that. Anyways, but that was the cleansing of my house. My car has verses, inspiring quotes all over it. I walk out of my door. I'm not sure if you guys read the book, Make Your Bed, but I literally have a bell, an iron cast bell hooked to my door outside of my garage at my house in Las Vegas. I just moved in here. And that's right next to my door as I walk out of my master bedroom door with the quotes or the 10 things of Make Your Bed, that book. And it's the last one is, if you want to quit, if you don't want to do the mornings, if you don't want the hard this, the hard that, whatever, ring the bell 3 times, you can get out of SEAL class, go home. And I'm like, bro, I want to give myself the ability to quit. Then I can run faster. I don't know why, but psychologically, I work better when I do that. But the fact that I can potentially quit makes me feel like, wow, like if I really wanted to quit, I could, but I'm not going to. Let's just keep going. But like if I'm pigeonholed and I can't work, then it's even worse.
So how do you combine having a purpose-driven life with teaching people how to obtain and maintain multiple streams of income? How does that fusion work?
So as far, and I can get back to the adding up and subtracting thing. So it's on the adding up and subtracting thing, just tie that in really quickly. Is basically when you're not getting the results that you want, you have to start subtracting. In other words, if you're not getting the sales you want, if you're not getting, the money you want saved, like I hear so many people want to get, their first investment property, their 10th investment property, they want $10,000 in passive income. They want $10,000 a year in passive income. Well, they're not getting that point. So if what you're doing is not adding up to get to that point, you have to start subtracting. And a lot of that comes down to what we do with the 168 hours we have in every single week. And if we're not utilizing those, like, it's really, really crazy. But I tracked 67% of the waking 16 hours in a day last year. So 67% of the 16 hours that I was awake every single day last year, I knew exactly what I was doing. I had a high performance coach named Mike Cesniak, and I would take to him the data that I would have of, hey, here's what I'm doing every single day. What do I need to do? How do I do this? So, and then and how to get better. So that's subtracting. Now on the side of purpose driven and living purposefully, the book Purpose Driven Life. I read that like 8 times now. I've given it away probably 60 or 70 times. I've been through it with my wife twice now. Like, it is such an awesome book. I realized not only that, it wasn't just that, it was that with a combination of understanding that the Bible, God says, like, dude, like, we are children, we are more than conquerors. Like, what we're put on earth to go and destroy hell, and our father's the owner of a cattle on 1,000 hills. Like, why am I sitting here like thinking I can't go and put up solar panels for free on a church in Mexico, or put up put up a brand new power grid, a microgrid in Thailand? Like, why am I not the one that's going to do that? I have this limited mindset that I struck down, and I want people to understand that they can do it too. It's just a matter of they're not doing the things they're supposed to be doing to get to that point, and they can. So the point of it, to live a purpose-driven lifestyle, or a for-purpose lifestyle, is to realize that you're not motivated because you're doing it for selfish gain. And I know that sounds kind of, maybe convicting, if you will, but seriously, most people are doing it because they want to sit on a beach and drink a mimosa and hang out. And I got nothing against having nice cars or whatever, like your cool houses. Like, cool. I live on the 31st floor of the nicest high rise in Houston. Like, it's freaking awesome. I love this place. I just got a text message that my Model X Plaid is going to be delivered in 2 days. I'm so excited right now. This is a $150,000 car. Like, I'm jacked up right now, right? This is why I'm probably so hyped up right now. But no, I'm always like this. Just kidding. But the point is that I don't care about how much money you make. I care about how much money you give. I don't care if you have things. I care if things have you. If somebody hits my Model X, the one at home right now, I'm not going to be like, maybe for a second, but after, maybe after a day, a half of a day, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's just a car. Like, we're good. Like, there's insurance. We've got it. Let's just keep moving forward. I don't care if you have things. I care if things have you, right? If your purse, your shoes, oh, you scuffed my shoes, bro. It's like, well, maybe, if things can turn your identity, your focus on being who you are and solving the problems in the world that you were put to solve here. Maybe you shouldn't have those things. Those things have you. But yeah, living a lifestyle. My goal right now is to make $80,000 passive income. I've got 5 figures passive income right now. I'm trying to get to the 80 mark, and I want to give away 80% of that to overseas missions. And that's my passion, and I want to solve those problems, and it's very, very important. A lot of those come in not just giving money, but going solving problems, teaching people how to run businesses overseas, which is what the world needs. They don't need our money. They need our resources on how to actually run businesses, which I've already done in Thailand and Ethiopia, Costa Rica. Now in Mexico, we're doing this one as well. So the point of it is to live a for-purpose lifestyle. The secret to living is giving. Tony Robbins says that, and a lot of people say that. But if you're doing this thing for you, you're going to get burnt out. And I don't even believe in burnout, because I'm not doing this for me. Right? When I was in 2015, 2016, when I was knocking on doors selling for Tesla Energy, Solar City at the time, Elon Musk company, I'm sorry, but my mom wasn't going to motivate me anymore after I'm getting bit up by mosquitoes. And, everyone's telling me no, because, I'm in an oil and gas country. Selling solar panels there wasn't going to work. Like, my mom wasn't motivating me after 4 weeks of getting told to kick rocks. I had to realize that there was bigger things I wanted to do. And at that time, I had just gotten back from a mission trip in Greece. And I was like, there's these dudes that were literally sitting in tents, that were business owners, that were dentists, that were just regular people. And I'm like, these dudes, like, how can I sit here and complain? First of all, I have a car. Second of all, I've got not a nice apartment, but I got an apartment that has food in the refrigerator. Like, how can I sit here and complain? Like, how hard is it? I just got to knock on some more doors and get better at my craft. And I didn't give up. And that was a turning point for my life in 2015 when I was getting told no all the time in Dallas. And that was, 7 years ago now. And, I thank God for putting me through that. But dude, I live now so grateful that I'm alive, that I'm not in prison. I'm not dead. I'm not severely capacitated. Like, I don't have an amputate or whatever because of the drugs or whatever. But dude, like, I am just the life of gratitude, practicing that on a day-to-day basis, whether you think it's placebo or not, works, which is why I have that I am grateful. Because if you don't remember what it used to be, it's very easy for you to, in this situation, on the 31st floor of the nicest high-rise ticket, be like, I can't believe my life is so hard right now. It's like, dude, like, you had no money 7-8 years ago. You had no money. You were broke, on the verge of going back into drugs. And that's why I'm like, wow, like, I can live a life of purpose. And now I need to go help other people get out of that and be encouraged themselves.
Very cool. Yeah, I practice gratitude every day on I have a list of, my plan for the day and a section for gratitude. Yes. You just write something down. It doesn't have to be long. Honestly, it's usually like 2 words. Just I know what it means. It's just to stay in the practice. And every day when I drive my daughter to school, I'm like, quick, give me 2 things you're grateful for.
Yes.
When I take my son to practice, quick, give me 2 things you're grateful for. And it's normal to them. They just have to come up with something new. And sometimes it'll be random. It'll be like cars or something. Just the fact that they have a car, they have whatever, is a gratitude that I don't want them to take for granted. So 100% agree that I don't think it's a placebo. I think it's a mind shift difference. And you can't be happy if you're not grateful, or it'd be very difficult to be. Anyways, So you had mentioned, since we're talking about designing your business to support your life, you had talked about what sounds like is what you're talking about is, I was about to say hinting, but not really, is it's designed around you living out your purpose. But you alluded to, you're doing door-to-door sales and not exactly feeling purposeful in that moment. Is that accurate?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So how did you go from not feeling very unaccomplished, selling solar in oil and gas country, to stepping into your purpose, and now you're helping others do the same? I get that, but how did you get to that first step? Because so many people, we get emails, comments, so forth. People are like, I just don't know what my purpose is. I don't know how to find it. They feel like they're just lost, meandering through their career or their job, whether they're making good money or not. It doesn't matter because the purpose isn't there. How did you find the purpose? Was it in the exact what you were doing, or was it the why behind the what? Where was it?
So there was a quote that I heard back then, and if you couldn't tell, I got my doctorates in YouTube. I wasn't a very good reader back then. Now I've read over like 600 books. I've just recently released my first book called Purposeful Profit, Mastering the Millennial Mindset for Success. So I read a book. I read a quote. That was one of the things that we would actually practice in our offices, and it was trust the process. And I was like, dude, I don't understand this trust the process thing. Like, this process sucks. And it was, you got to get, and the next thing was, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, like I'm a sports guy. Like I know uncomfortable. I know what this means, but I didn't know how to relate that to business, and it just didn't make sense. So how do you become comfortable with being uncomfortable? And at the end of the day, I realized that I was just a shy guy. I was just shy. And, I know most people's biggest fear is like public humiliation, which has to do with like, public speaking or whatever else, but public humiliation, nobody wants to be publicly humiliated. And, that level of just pushing myself just a little bit further. And most people, when I say be comfortable with being uncomfortable, I'm assuming you probably think running in the street naked. You're like, I'm like, no, dude, like, it's not that. Like, no, it's not 0 to 100 real quick. It is, just somewhat better. You got to lower the bar of expectation, start implementing, and get to the next level, and just do that one thing. And for me, what that was I would actually say hello to somebody at the gas station. And I say, hey, how's your day going so far? And so that was quick. So I was walking by them, so it didn't really turn into a long conversation. Like, hey, what's going on? Hey, man, I really like your shirt, or that's a really nice hat, or man, those, oh, you're Cowboys fan? Awesome, bro. Like, sweet. How are they going to do this year? Cool. And I know nothing. I don't, at the time I didn't know nothing about football. I didn't know much about football, but I would just learn how to, one, compliment somebody, that then learned to see that they would smile, and they'd be like, wow, like, I like myself better when I'm around this guy. I don't even know who you are. Like, come back around. And then I started to realize, like, wow, like, I'm actually going and frequenting the same places. So it started with the gym, and I would say hello to the person at the front desk, whether it was a young girl or a young man. I would say, hey, and I would learn their names. And I was like the worst guy with names. And I would always tell myself, like, I don't learn names. I'm bad at names. Well, if you tell yourself you're bad at names, you're always gonna be bad at names. If you tell yourself you're never gonna be financially independent out of credit card debt, you're never gonna get there. Like, you're limiting yourself from getting to that point. I know that seems like foofy or whatever, but it's real. Like, if you say you're going to never get out of credit card debt, like, you will never. You don't believe that. Like, if you don't believe you can be set free and your sins are wiped as far as east from the west, like, it'll never happen. You'll live in that perpetual downward cycle. Yeah, anyways, so trust the process, become and find small steps to get to the point where you can become comfortable with being uncomfortable, which for me was talking to people. And I'm like, I'm over here a door-to-door salesperson, like doing door-to-door sales for almost 10 years now. I'm like, how does a door-to-door salesperson be an introvert? But in reality, like, I am an introvert. I'm an introverted extrovert. So that's what it was. And then the other thing is, in my book, I actually talk about the do what you love trap. So I don't believe you need to do what you love. I have this story that I go back to in high school where it was like, yeah, what do you want to do, Mikey, when you grow up? And I'm like, baseball player, duh. And then, like, my senior year, I got cut from baseball because I was on drugs and I was late a couple times, and my grades weren't the best, but whatever. I still should have played. Like, there was guys that had way worse grades than I did, and they should have not played, at least on the football team, not necessarily on the baseball team. But anyways, I wasn't apparently that good. So I got cut. My dreams of being a baseball player were gone. So I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do. I want to, be a firefighter or something. So this push in our society to know what you want to do when you're 16, 17, 18 years old. Like, dude, I didn't even know what life was at 16, 17, 18 years old. And I thought I was a big shot at 18. I was like, let's go. I know the world. I'm going to conquer this. Let's go. I was clueless, bro. I was completely clueless. I had no idea what I was doing. And don't get me wrong, I don't belittle, that's not to belittle 18-year-olds. Like, I coach and mentor 18-year-olds at my church. But I don't, these young men that I'm around right now, I'm like, dude, these guys are so much further than I was. I thought I had it all together. But yeah, at the end of the day, the do what you love trap is limiting people and making them actually chase money. Because at the end of the day, if you say, I want to go be an artist, your mom and dad, your cousins look at you like you're an idiot. It's like, well, an artist on TikTok or, on Fiverr is making great money. Like, what if I pay my videographer thousands of dollars a month. Like, and this dude's got 30 something grand coming in every single month, and he's an artist. So it's like, if you just did it correctly, you could make really good money and love what you do and add tons of value. So the do what you love trap is a very scary thing that the society is pushing on us, and even our parents. They're doing it unconsciously. They don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know that they're unconsciously pushing, go be a nurse, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, because they want their kids to do better. And I understand that, but it is hurting them, because then they go to a job, they're an accountant, and they hate their life. Or they go on and, it's like, especially knocking on doors. So like, don't go knocking on doors, like, go get a real job. Yeah, it's just, I didn't know what I loved. I realized that my main thing was I wanted to find out, what I teach now is I wanted to find out what I didn't want to do, what I didn't love to do first when I was younger. Then now it's, I want to serve people. And that sounds kind of cliche, but like, I don't care if it's like as an umpire, which is one of my things. I want to umpire baseball again in the future, or coach baseball with my kids. I don't have kids yet, but I'll have kids soon. But I want to do that. But I want to serve people, and it's more of there's always a seed of equivalent benefit there, that even if I don't get something out of it, I'm happier, if you will, the happy factor, the happy meal. everyone's really at the end of the day looking for happiness. So.
Yeah, I think one of the things is, in Lafayette, I'll toss it over to you, is a lot of people say they're unhappy, and so they look for a career change over and over and over, only to find out that they're never filling the hole in the boat. Therefore, they're always just paling water out of there. They're never focusing on repairing the boat and making the boat successful, and so it can move freely and happy. And therefore, the career is now just an avenue for you to live out your happiness and your purpose, whether you're serving people on the side, whether you're doing things in your church, whether you're contributing overseas or going on missions, whatever it is, raising your children to be the best they could possibly be. They just forget to focus on that. And the funny thing is, all it takes is sometimes the extra putting down the TV, reading some books, listening to some podcasts, putting good food into the soul, finding out whose you are, and all those things. And then there you go. But Lafayette, I'm sure you got a great question. I know we're kind of getting close to the end.
So we always wrap up the last segment with the off script. We always ask our guests to give us an off script moment. It doesn't have to deal with the topic, but whatever's on your heart that you want to leave our audience with.
First thing that comes up is, I mean, again, it's really the main thing that I've been focusing on is be present with your parents, be present with your kids, be present with your wife, with your spouse, be present. I don't care how much money you have, you can't buy them back, you know, and not only that, but you haven't come too far to, start over. I know a lot of people that I coach and mentor and, are following my socials, they hit me up as well. And they're like, man, like, I feel like I'll never make it. And, I want to leave them with, dude, like, if I can do it, you can do it. I didn't get this thing overnight. I just got back up and got back in the batter's box and tried taking more swings, and then went home and swung my bat in the backyard and tried to hit the tee and, throw ground balls against the wall and play wall ball. And I went back out and, I did some training and I got grounded and they, your listeners, they have, I don't know if you're out there or not, but you have something in you that's, world changing. And maybe this is the time that you needed to hear this, whether that's you listen to this tomorrow, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. You have something that's in you, it's great. And you can be the one for your family. It's just a matter of going out and doing it. What is the risk? 10 years from now, 5 years from now, you're going to only have regret of not stepping out. That's one of the big things that older men and older women have told me, is that they wish they would have done more. And that Mikey at 25, 27, 29, and now 30 is so much further along than them. And I take that stuff serious. They told me that they wish they would have been where I was at 25, 29, 30, 40, wherever you're at, 60. I've seen over and over and over the redemption stories of dudes losing their business, losing their family, and coming back and making it.
Purchase Mikey's book, Purposeful Profit. I'm sure they can get that anywhere on Amazon and wherever you get your book, Purposeful Profit. Also connect with Mikey.
Mikey at
IG
25, 27,
at Mikey
29, and
Lucas.
now
Give him a
30.
follow there.
It's so much
Connect
further
with
along
him,
than
stay
them.
connected to everything that he's
I
got
take
going on. Again, we say thank you, Mikey, for this incredible conversation.
They wish they would have.
How to achieve your dreams without sacrificing your freedom. Stay connected here with UnScripted. Follow us on all platforms at UnScripted Leadership. Check out our website, unscripted-leadership.com. Of course, you can get this podcast wherever podcasts are streamed. As always, we pray that you be the leader that God has called you to be. We're here to build bridges and not walls. Bridges connect and walls divide. Until next time, God bless you. On IG